All right, so let's talk. We're going to get into this book by Dr. Anna Lembke called Dopamine Nation. And I'm not going to lie, this one hits pretty close to home. It tackles a massive question for our time. Why is it that in a world that has basically been engineered for our happiness and comfort, so many of us feel, well, kind of miserable? And more importantly, what the hell are we supposed to do about it?
You know the feeling, right? It's that weird paradox. You've got more entertainment options than any human has ever had in history. Every movie, every show, endless games, food delivered to your door in minutes. And yet, so many of us feel anxious or just numb. What is going on? How did we get so much and end up feeling like we have so little?
Well, here's the core of the problem, and it's a huge mismatch. Our brains are basically running on ancient software. I mean, we're talking caveman-era programming that was designed for survival in a world of scarcity, where finding a berry bush was a huge win. And now, we've dropped that same brain into an all-you-can-eat digital buffet that never ever closes. It's just completely overwhelmed. And what's the main delivery system for all this stuff? Yeah, it's this little rectangle in our pockets. Dr. Lemke has this incredible metaphor for it. She calls the smartphone the modern hypodermic needle. And she's not wrong, is she? It's a constant 24/7 drip feed of digital dopamine, likes, notifications, news alerts, pumped straight into our brain's reward system. So what is actually happening inside our heads when this is going on? Well, it all boils down to this really simple but incredibly powerful internal mechanism, the pleasure-pain balance. Look, your brain's number one job above everything else is to keep things stable. It's obsessed with equilibrium, or what scientists call homeostasis. The best way to picture it is as a perfectly balanced seesaw, or a scale, right in the middle of your head. And your brain will fight like hell to keep that thing level. So you do something that feels good. You eat a piece of chocolate, you buy something online, you get a like on a photo. Boom. Your brain releases a little shot of a neurotransmitter called dopamine, and that immediately tips the scale down on the side of pleasure. The bigger the dopamine hit, the more the scale tips. But here's the catch. Your brain does not like being off balance. It kind of freaks out. So to get back to level, it immediately pushes down with an equal and opposite force on the pain side of the scale. You know that little pang of wanting another cookie the second you finish the first one? Or that empty feeling when you stop scrolling? Yeah, that's your brain desperately trying to level itself out. So you can basically think of dopamine as the universal currency for how addictive something is. The more dopamine an experience releases, the more potential it has to get you hooked. Why? Because a bigger tip to the pleasure side means a bigger, more painful swing back to the pain side is coming right behind it. So that's the system. It's designed to keep us safe and motivated. But what happens when we're hitting that pleasure button over and over and over again all day long? Well, that's how we fall into the high dopamine trap. When you keep slamming down on the pleasure side of that scale, your brain gets exhausted trying to rebalance every single time. So eventually it just cheats. It starts piling metaphorical weights on the pain side just to keep it from flying up. Your new baseline, your new normal, is now permanently tilted towards pain. You're starting every day in a deficit. And this leads to the cruelest irony of all. The relentless pursuit of pleasure, what we call hedonism, paradoxically leads to a state called anhedonia. And that's the inability to feel pleasure from anything. The very thing you are chasing so hard completely disappears. It's a brutal trap. And this is what that life in a dopamine deficit looks like. Your brain's dopamine levels are just chronically low. Simple things that used to bring you joy, a walk, a conversation, good music, they just don't register anymore. Your baseline state shifts from being pretty content to feeling constantly anxious and just craving the next hit, just to feel normal for a few minutes. Okay, that all sounds incredibly bleak, I know, but here is the most important part of this entire conversation. You are not broken. This state is not a life sentence. Your brain is just doing what it's supposed to do in a completely unnatural environment. And the good news is, there is a path back to balance. Now, the solution isn't to just try harder or have more willpower, because let's be honest, that's a resource that runs out fast. Instead, Dr. Lemke gives us 3 concrete, practical strategies to reset the system: abstinence, self-binding, and a really fascinating counterintuitive idea called hormesis. First things first, you have to give that overworked system a break. This is what people call a dopamine fast.
You have to abstain completely from your specific high dopamine drug of choice for a period of time. Now, it's going to suck at first, there's no way around that, but it's the only way to let that pleasure-pain scale finally return to a level playing field. And when it does, you'll be amazed at how good a simple cup of coffee can taste again. Okay, next up is self-binding. This is for all of us who know that willpower is basically a fantasy. So instead of relying on it, you create actual physical barriers between yourself and the habit. You make it harder to do the thing you want to do less. Delete the apps from your phone, leave your phone in the car when you go out to dinner. You're essentially creating a space between the impulse and the action.
And now for the last one. This is the weirdest, but maybe the most powerful of them all, hormesis. And it means intentionally leaning into healthy forms of pain and discomfort. Yep, you heard that right. You deliberately press down on the pain side of your scale. We're talking about things like intense exercise, cold showers, or tackling a really difficult project. By doing that, you trigger your brain's own powerful rebalancing pleasure response, and that kind of good feeling lasts.
And look, this isn't some new biohacking trend. This is ancient wisdom. The philosophers knew this. The idea that real pleasure is the reward for facing pain, that's been around forever. The profound satisfaction you get from overcoming a challenge is so much deeper and more lasting than the cheap thrill from an easy reward.
So I guess that's the question the book really leaves us with. In this world that is constantly trying to sell us easy, effortless pleasure, what if the real path to joy, to feeling good and balanced, isn't found there at all? What if it's hiding on the other side of embracing the effort? What if the secret to happiness is actually just doing hard things?